on Friday, Saturday, whatever, a update.
Yes.
Automatic update.
Yes.
It didn't give anybody any, and one of the, do you have Samsung?
No.
Okay. One of the updates on, this is smart TVs, one of the question was whether or not you wanted to targeted one of the, and most everybody said no. Well, evidently everybody's system went down. Everybody lost their home or their interface.
Yeah.
So I went in and looked at the blog, and there was a lot of very unhappy people and not much support from Samsung about how to solve it. They were working on it, but people talked to people in the Philippines and they had not a clue, you know,
what was going on.
But then some people discovered that if you unplugged it while it was on and hit the controller, it would reboot. Well, then yesterday I checked, and people found out if you just hit the power button for about 20 seconds, it would reboot
the system.
Mine didn't go down as, you know, it went down, but it came back up. A lot of people lost all their apps. If they had a lot of apps in the system, they lost them all. They had to
reinstall them. Yeah.
So I pass it on in case somebody, it sounded like if you hit that power button for 20 seconds, it may reboot it.
It's good to know. I mean, we've got, I think both of our TVs are Samsungs, and they're both smart TVs.
You didn't have an update?
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, just be aware that maybe that's a solution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah, because I don't have that many apps on there. You lost all your Netflix and all your stuff that was in there, and you just couldn't even control anything.
Who do you have as your cable service provider?
Our cable is
Hood Canal?
DirecTV.
Oh, DirecTV. Okay.
Through CenturyLink.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm considering whether to change. I think I may change to Dish, just because we don't have a DVR or a recording system, and if we do that, if we get one of the new ones, either force DirecTV, which we've had for 20 years, to give us their benefits, versus signing up with Dish, well, then you get the new member and you get the recording and
all the perks for signing up.
Because our system is set up so that we can't, if the main TV is shut off, we can't watch it in the bedroom. But with if we had a new system, we could do that. I think even watch different. They set it up so.
Interesting. And so the Samsung update only affects the TV, not the cable?
Just the TV.
Okay. Because we have a little mini cable box in our bedroom that can play our recorded shows from our main TV. And about 2 weeks ago, it just shut down and stopped working. And so on Thursday, I went to Olympia and took it to the Comcast Xfinity store and exchanged it. Got a brand new one. I mean, it's a new model and everything. So the next version, plugged it in, worked for about the night we got it. And then the next night we got in bed and tried to turn on something and the machine crashed. So I'm guessing that there's more to the problem than just the machine being bad, because that's two machines.
Your Samsung home, or
the TV
working, ends up on your TV with that problem.
Yeah, and the main TV, I mean our living room TV and cable box still work fine. So I don't know. So I'll have to find out what's going on. I thought when you were talking about a automatic update, you're going to talk about the Samsung. You know, the phone.
Oh, the phone.
The Note 7.
Oh,
the one that is exploding. Apparently, there's still something like 2%, which sounds small, but 2% is like thousands of units are still out in the wild.
Yeah.
And Samsung sent an update that bricks the phone.
Yeah.
Did I mention this last week?
No, but I was reading the thing.
Yeah.
Basically, it turns into.
Yeah.
You can't use it.
Yeah, bricking phones or a device basically makes it non-functional. So they call it bricking because that's about all it's good for.
You
So
can do that remotely.
yeah,
If
But-
except the-
but Verizon is denying. They're saying we're not going to do it right now. Morning, Mark. We're not going to do it right now
Yeah,
because of the holidays
yeah.
and because people travel. And
They depend on it.
the guy I heard on the podcast said, well, if they're traveling, and I understand that not everyone travels by plane, but if you're traveling by plane, you're not even supposed to have the phone on the plane anyway. So,
Yeah.
so why wouldn't Verizon do it? Because if you've got a Note 7, then you're not supposed to
Well,
have
I
it
bet you
anyway.
people are, just shutting them around and traveling.
Yep, yep.
Bill? I'm fine, thanks, Mom.
I'm
Say,
good.
Mark, before you leave, we have a cookie drop out your way.
Okay.
Lexington place,
Yeah,
just,
sure.
a lady that was here.
If they're the same ones that Dorena gave us yesterday, they might not make it.
Might not make it over. These are cookies out of the freezer, these will make it over.
Those are good. That little green trees, that's my absolute favorite of all time. So I digress.
Did you have some?
No problem.
Yeah, we had more than I thought, actually, about 2 inches of real slushy.
Yeah.
It
It turned to rain.
didn't really freeze, it just was slushed up.
Yeah,
Looked
it was surprised me. I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah. That woke me up in the middle of the night and said, look.
Let's go out and play.
So Doreen, do you put some lemon? Is there something lemony in there? Beth uses, or my mother uses almond,
In the spritzes,
yeah,
that's orange.
orange. Orange zest, or is it?
Mhm.
There's something a little citrusy in there.
Here's Hal Burton posted a picture of Babe in the barn out at Hunter's Farm,
Banana,
which was last night.
Mm,
you could put on.
I know Beeson's and Roberts were gonna bounce it.
okay, I didn't. Yeah, we keep forgetting about it every year. We're just talking about Samsung.
Oh, yeah,
Do you have a Samsung TV?
thank.
Well, I was just sharing that
Well, you've got
they sent out a
automatic.
Update.
Yeah.
on their TVs, and it was not an optioned update, it was updating. The only option you had was to not accept targeted ads. Well, if you did that, the system crashed.
Oh,
And the way, and this happened, a lot of people, unhappy people, if it happens to you, just hold down the power button and it'll probably reboot the home page.
so it's a Samsung Smart TV?
Smart
Yeah.
TV.
Now I'm wondering.
No, I don't think I have one. I think we have almost all Vizios. There might be a Samsung in there
Yeah.
somewhere, but it's not smart.
I'm wondering if maybe the reason why I haven't seen the message yet is because we've not accessed the smart TV features
Okay,
yet.
that's probably it. So when it may pop up, so if it happens.
Yeah,
we don't know.
because we almost never use the smart TV
Yeah.
features in the living room TV, and we have been lately in the bedroom because our cable box
Mhm.
went down.
Okay.
But even for Netflix, Xfinity recently, I mean, I don't know how long ago they actually partnered, but recently announced some kind of deal or partnership with Netflix. So now one of the Xfinity apps
Oh, okay.
through the cable box is Netflix.
Yeah.
So we don't have to use the smart TV to get to Netflix
But
anymore.
that's what a lot of people do, they just bypass the system.
Yeah, and I've got my PlayStation 4, and so and the PlayStation 4 is much faster than
Yeah.
the smart TVs are slow when you get to the smart portion of them.
Mhm.
So using the PlayStation has always been faster for me. So I usually just turn on the PlayStation and run Netflix or
Talking about that, is there a way to interface Bluetooth or something, your computer with the smart TV?
not Bluetooth. You mean without
Bluetooth,
cables?
Without cable or, running a.
Blu-ray or Bluetooth?
No, Bluetooth would be like
Yeah.
wirelessly talking.
wireless or.
I know that if you've got like an Apple TV,
Yeah.
of course that's with Macs, but
I haven't experimented around to see if there's a way for it.
Yeah.
Sit there on the couch and put it up on the big screen and
that's a good question. I know that like with my iPhone, I can actually browse, and there might be other apps also, but I can browse YouTube and Netflix on my phone. And then there's the little, where, of course, I think it looks different, but this symbol up here, there, can show up on your, like on Netflix or YouTube. But I think it's also, I think it looks like that, but it also has some like wireless bars on it.
Okay.
And because it's a smart TV, your phone recognizes that the smart TV also has YouTube. And so you can pick the video, you know, search and pick videos on your phone, which is infinitely faster for me. And then you just click that button and it pops up on the TV. It's not a flawless interface. There's sometimes it says could not load video or could not find video or something. But so I know that that's possible. And I know that with Apple TV and a Mac that you can just instantly without any wires do that. I don't know if, well, like with Chromecast, you can like a little, you know, the little Chrome stick, or Fire TV stick or whatever they call them, or maybe they're two different things. But anyway, I know you can do that also. In fact, I've seen commercials recently where it shows the same thing. You're looking on your phone and then you tap twice and now it's on the TV.
I want to experiment.
Yeah.
And our kids are coming down as we get, so we'll get that working.
Yeah. You know, and I know that some people, and this used to be, instead of buying, you know, the TiVo used to be the big thing before the cable companies came out with DVRs. But people used to buy like cheap laptops or desktops and then plug them in and then stick it behind the TV so that it was hidden. Then you get a wireless or Bluetooth keyboard and mouse, and then you can basically have a TV on your 50, 60, 70,
Maybe that's what you
80-inch
do with
TV.
our old laptops.
Yeah. So there's that option as well. So, but as far as playing things wirelessly, I mean, there might be a little dongle that you can buy that allows you to sync your Windows laptop.
Just Google it.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, it's definitely worth a try. And I mean, even if it
Then
may not be,
we'd be fighting on whose laptop gets to use the TV.
that's right.
Now, see, now I should think about that.
Yeah. And Becca, we recently got a Bluetooth adapter for Becca's car so that she can play her phone without any wires plugging in, like the auxiliary cable. And if we both get in our cars, because sometimes like I'll leave early, or I know I have to go to Olympia for visits or something, or she has to leave early, or whatever. We more often, unfortunately than not, we have to drive separate cars, even though we're both going to work. And sometimes our phones will connect to the other car. So I'm listening to Hamilton when I'm not trying to. and she's listening to my podcast guys talking.
Well, once it's connected, then it stays connected?
No, then there's a little
change your distance?
No, once it is connected, there's a little button on the bottom, and you can click, when you swipe up on your control center, it tells you what device you're connected to. And you can click that button, it tells you what's available. So there's your iPhone, there's my Alpine CD receiver, which is my car, because my stereo has it built in. And then there's Becca's adapter, which is called Dowtronics, I think. And so sure enough, it said Dowtronics, and Becca's like, that was not Hamilton that I was listening to. I said, I said, yep, and you were trying to listen to Hamilton, weren't you? She said, yes, I was. So,
Interesting.
yeah,
The challenges of the electronic world.
yeah, the pains that we endure. And I've also had it happen because hers is a little adapter, and so you have to turn it on and off because it's not just for the car. I've actually been in the house, and it's still the car's close enough because it's in the garage that it's still talking to her. So I'll turn on like a YouTube video, and I'm like, oh, well, maybe the volume's not up high enough, and I'll be clicking the volume bar, and nope, it's up. And then I realize that it's playing in the car, even though the car's off. And so it's playing to nothing. So then I got to switch it back to. So I've been remembering lately to turn the Bluetooth adapter in her car off before we get out so that we're not connecting to it. So.
What challenges do you have, Mark? You must have some electronic challenges.
Can't even describe. I have too much stuff to get really comfortable with any of it, except maybe the laptop. But the rest of it is, like every time we go to bring up the smart TV, it's like starting all over. How is that? How
You have to reboot it, or
No,
you just have to rerun? Yeah.
yeah,
Navigating it. Yeah.
and where to find stuff. For example, you know the Prenicky movie, Alone in the Wilderness, the guy who built the cabin?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that one's all over the place. It's on YouTube,
Yeah.
but it's also on some of the smart TV. I think Hulu has it. So I was trying to send it to a friend of mine yesterday, and I couldn't figure out which modality would be the easiest for him to access. So I ended up sending him a YouTube link, and I think that worked. But at home, it's like, paper or plastic. There's too many choices. And trying to decide which is the best one, easiest one, which one works at all. Those are my challenges. Too much stuff.
And and the interfaces are all a little bit different. And so trying to find a unified, like I do not have any smart home stuff in my home, but the thing I do, but the thing I do appreciate if I do go that route, or when we do go that route, I don't know what it is yet, but anyway, if I buy things that are all HomeKit enabled, which is part of the Apple system, if they are compatible with the HomeKit, then I at least know that even though their ecosystems are different, that I can connect them all to one application and one device, and then they will all work together.
That's the challenge.
Yeah.
Is the interoperability between all these systems. They're all a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
Alexa, for example.
Yep.
She now has 3,000 skills. We know how to check the weather and get her to tell us a joke, and that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so all that capacity sits there.
Mm-hmm.
And we
That's the taller one, isn't it?
Yeah.
That was
Mhm.
one.
yeah. I mean, it can do all kinds of things.
Well, what else could you maybe do with it if you?
Well, you can play Jeopardy.
Oh, okay.
Music, for example.
You
Mhm.
The way to access music in Amazon Prime and how the playlists and all that work. Vis-a-vis, I've lost the bubble on iTunes now. I cannot figure out how that's working and how to stream it from my phone to my system. Mostly it's just not being focused. It's
Mhm.
not sitting down and concentrating and try to sort out, okay, how's this supposed to work? And then making it work. It's almost too hard.
Mm-hmm.
So we fall to the what's.
Maybe we need to have a class up Marshwood someday, and we'll.
That'd be a good idea. Have a
Field
road
trip.
show.
Field trip.
Road show.
Yeah. Solve everybody's problems.
Especially for those of us
Confuse
without
everybody else.
grandchildren. Yeah.
Your comment about the HomeSense, we have all electronic
Mm-hmm.
lighting, and if and when we decided to coordinate it. You know,
Right.
I've been monitoring it, trying to decide it, well, is now the time or not the time? Because, you know, we could control our lights from but it's evolving.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, yeah, and it's hard to tell on whether or not things have settled or if they're going to continue to change. And so is now, I mean, the prices are not
No.
outrageous, but and it's not necessarily the price, but do you want to invest in that price when that whole ecosystem of smart home stuff could be evolving? And you know, are there, which I haven't looked much into, but are there wars going on, like the Blu-ray versus the HD DVD war, you know, and who's going to settle after that? And do you want to invest a system that may ultimately go under because they lost the war?
I just read an article about that said that the driver to force a common language across all these different platforms, maybe the cars, that they want the cars to talk to all the other cars. So in order to do that, they have to have a common language.
Yep.
And that may force all these devices to truly talk to each other in the same language. Then we get away from this Droid, Apple, iOS, Pixel stuff. So
It'll probably take, you know, one company to say, you know, really take the bull by the horns and almost force everybody else to join them rather than, because if they just allow each one to.
Well, the government's going to get
Are they?
involved, though. I think the Department of Transportation says, you know, if they had collision avoidance like they have in drones in cars, that it would save, you know, I think the 600,000 crashes a year. Just that, you know, keeping cars away from each other.
Yep.
And that technology exists now.
Yeah.
But everybody has to have it in order for it to work.
Yeah, it's like I still can't, every time I try to think of the name of it, but anyway, in Europe, they've got that, it's carpooling, but that's not what they call it. But if each car has the same device in them, they can basically link up in a train.
Convoy.
And you know, but they have to have it. Any other car that doesn't obviously can't be a part of it. So it's the adoption that's the key. And I mean, you can't, and that would take, I don't know, what, 20 years at least.
Well, but it's like anything else, unless you start.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to start, but you have to realize, you know, people are going to buy cars that are affordable and buy cars that are, you know, fit their needs. And there's still, you know, there's a good number of people in our own congregation that love old cars. And, you know, unless it becomes law that you have to put that chip or something, and can that even be compatible with a car that's from the 50s and 60s? Or earlier. I mean, my dad still has his Model A from when he was a teenager. And
Obviously, it doesn't have a diagnostic report on it.
But I mean, are there, you know, is there an exception to say, well, anything made beyond 19?
There has to be, more likely would have to be.
Well, these units could be, I don't know how you connect them to the car.
But just like, you know, airbags and things, those became standard. And, you know, granted, there's probably still some cars out there without them.
It's a law, you have to have seatbelts even on Model A.
Mm-hmm.
You have to retrofit.
Yeah.
That is, part of my problem is, you know, I have an older, mine's an X10 system. And now there's a, you know, newer system, but yet the X10 is still functioning and, you know, providing, there could be interfaces between that and the software and that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's compatibility. Yeah.
What X10 is what?
Well, it transmits a signal down the common feed line.
To what system?
To it's dimming switches and turning them on, but you can get programs, so you can program them for dawn to dusk, or you can remotely, you know, do things, or middle of the night, you know, lights go as if you're walking through the house type thing. You know, you can program almost anything to happen.
Yep.
But it's an older system than some of the newer ones.
Have y'all used the cameras with the smartphone interfaces?
No.
The trip to shutter, and all, you can actually monitor what the camera's seeing on your phone screen. GoPros have it.
The only thing I've done related to that is when Aubrey was born, we bought, I think I still have it on my phone, but it's a baby app, baby monitor. There it is, baby monitor. And if you've got, so we would set up an iPad in the bed in Aubrey's room, and then we could just
Use the
monitor.
camera.
Yeah, and so it uses the camera and then connects to the camera on here and audio, and so you get live audio and video feed of what's going on in the.
The GoPro I know has the remote capability where you can set it on a tripod, and when the geese come in, you can trigger the shutter
Video.
and
Yeah.
you can zoom it, you can do all this stuff. And I just bought one of those super zoom Nikon things, and it supposedly has the Wi-Fi connectivity.
Oh, so you can set up your,
And it's under the tree. I haven't gotten into it yet. How hard that is.
oh, okay. So it's not your Nikon camera.
It is a Nikon
Oh,
camera. It's
Okay, but it's like a GoPro. I mean, it's a small.
It's an 83 times optical zoom. Goes from 24 millimeters to 2,000.
Wow. You're going to be counting the feathers out there on the wood ducks.
And it's not that expensive.
That's not the one you had mounted there by the window, is it?
No, that's a
That's
scope.
pretty scopy.
That, yeah, that one is too.
Yeah,
This is even more zoomable.
really. You can take pictures.
Yeah.
I was reading last night, there's speculation whether or not GoPro is in trouble or not in
Yeah.
trouble, whether they're going to go under, because their stock has dropped to $820 and it was at over 100. Of course, the founder is saying, no, there's no problem. We got lots of sales.
Nikon P900,
That's the one. I think it's, yeah, that's the one.
83 times optical zoom.
Yeah. But here's, you guys might know this. It only takes pictures in JPEG format. I think its video is 1080p, which all the photographers I know say, well, you really want to take pictures in RAW, but this won't do it. And a lot of the cameras have 4K now. Phones have 4K. But the 83X I figured was enough for me with Snapsheet.
Yeah.
JPEGs, I don't do a whole lot of post-image processing.
Well, but the nice thing, I mean, even if you don't do post-image processing, I mean, the whole idea behind RAW is that a JPEG processes the picture for you. And so when you try to post-process again, you don't have as much to work with.
It starts.
Yeah, and I actually noticed that because I've done, when I got my DSLR, I got online and was watching all kinds of videos and such, and so I took a couple of pictures, and you can manipulate and brighten pictures a whole lot more without as much distortion. And so if you are taking pictures in low light or other settings like that, taking it in the RAW would be a lot more helpful.
So with the RAW image, you have to drag that into something like Photoshop.
Yeah. I mean, the Mac can, with the Photos app, can read, and I don't think it can convert, but it can read and edit RAW photos in just the plain Photos app. But Becca bought me down here on the bar, you'll see the LR, which is Adobe Photoshop Lightroom. So version 5, and I think that was either 5 or 6 was the last one that was standalone and not part of their subscription product now. And it converts, and it's
RAW.
RAW is completely unedited, so it just takes the picture as you see it. Oh, there's last year's Christmas picture. But
My camera will take raw pictures. I don't think your phone would. And matter
Why
of
wouldn't the phone?
fact, well,
Does it edit it? When you take
it's
it?
probably in JPEG. Well, just like Mark's camera, see, will only take JPEG. And you know, as much manipulation as I do of JPEG photos for making videos and stuff, I probably am. Every time you do something, it diminishes a little bit.
Right.
So
I could do it in RAW.
Yeah. So and with RAW, you know,
I
you
just
can,
haven't done it.
and I mean, you can do it again. You can do it with JPEG, but picture or colors are already basically preset. Whereas, and I don't know probably a billionth of what Lightroom can actually do, but we have a friend of the family, and he's an amateur photographer, but he takes incredible pictures, and he uses Lightroom, and I mean, just the, you know, he gets in there and can really, because we see him often when we go down to I don't think we went this year, but we go down to Mexico most years, to Rocky Point. And so our cousins go water skiing, and he'll get the, you know, the giant telephoto lens and snap pictures of them water skiing. And he can just, you know, when you get the spray, you know, you can really turn that bright white, and, you know, he pulls out blemishes, and he pulls out, you know, if you've got a little bit of food on your face, it just makes it disappear, and, you know, just all that fine tuning stuff.
So the pictures I'm taking are not raw on my phone?
No,
Really?
no, they're JPEG. Though you can buy, it was $2. I bought an app called Manual. And it'll take pictures. I think I've got it set to take pictures in both. It'll snap both a JPEG and a RAW picture at the same time. So it'll take the picture, and it'll process one as a JPEG, and it'll leave the other one alone.
Christmas for you. What's it called?
Manual.
Manual. Remember Manuel? I remember him, and then we'll.
We write them?
Yeah.
The Manual camera. Of course, I've already purchased it, so it's not going to tell me how much it is. Let's see. Yeah, and it's great because you can control the shutter, the ISO, the white balance, the focus, the exposure. Available on the App Store. Oh, $4. I lied. Twice as much, but so, and this is what it looks like. Get a screen share up here for people.
I think I see it's for iPhone. What's in the
Yep.
Android? $2.99.
Is it on the Android or Play Store?
Yeah.
So anyway, it's nice. I haven't used it a lot, but I've used it a couple of times.
So when you take an image, it goes into your camera roll?
Yeah.
And from there, you can get it into this Lightroom? Or
Well, yeah. Well, currently I can't. I was on the phone last week with Apple, and we still haven't. I had to leave because it was taking longer than I thought, and I had to go get my haircut. But so we didn't solve the issue. But ever since I changed my password, which I think I mentioned last time, things aren't syncing. So my photos album isn't syncing, and anytime I start up my computer, I'm having to enter in my old password multiple times to log into my mail and my contacts. My iMessage just won't work anymore. Like, it won't even let me. It's like I have to enter my Apple ID and password, and it says an unexpected problem occurred during activation or something. And so I can't use iMessage on my Mac right now. So I'll call them again maybe, or I'll take it to the store in Tacoma and say, fix this. Because it's slowly been, I don't know why it didn't just all happen at once, but it's slowly been getting worse since I changed my password. And I think it maybe because they released an update for the Mac and the iPhones. And when that updated, I think that's when it just kind of went to this
You're on that problem too?
ultimate problem.
A similar problem, and I think it was associated with one of the upgrades.
Yeah.
For some reason, my phone won't take my app store challenge and password. And in doing that, I somehow got a new entry code into my phone, so that's all I want. And when I bring certain things up, it wants me to log into the app store, which it won't do.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to call. And, you know, we should all do that before the weekend when there'll be a million calls next week.
Mm-hmm.
New stuff.
Yep, all their new devices that get unwrapped.
So I have one for you guys, you world travelers. On the App Store, maps.me.
ME?
M-E, maps. Download free maps for any place in the world, even the top of the Andes, and use them when you don't have an internet connection.
Yeah, so for offline viewing.
ME, huh?
Since it all happens on your device, zooming and swiping is faster than web maps.
That'd be
Maps.me.
something
That's
that,
what I mean.
Offline with navigation and navigation and directions.
that'd be something that Van Edmondsburg could use.
Yeah.
Free forever. No in-app purchases.
Forever.
And that's what they say. I don't know. I'm always leery of that. I never was until, and I don't know if I've told you
But
all.
they have a pro version that
That-
gives you even more.
No, not even the pro version. No, this is my story. And I think I've told Steve about it a couple of times because they've recently gotten Fire Sticks for every TV in their house. And he was asking what services we subscribe to. And so I told him Netflix, and he was asking about Hulu. So this is my story, is the Hulu story. Hulu started, I don't know if you paid close attention to Hulu, but Hulu started out free. And in fact, this is probably why it made the biggest impression on me, and I'm still upset about it, is because almost every year, I don't think we did this last year, but almost every year, my friends and I get on, I think we text message. We do group text message now that you can group text message across devices and carriers, etc. But we used to get in a Google Hangout on our computers and watch the Super Bowl from, we're here and they're in Michigan and Illinois. And so the 5 of us would get online and chat. And, we'd always, we'd talk about the game, but then we'd applaud or bash or whatever the commercials. And one Super Bowl year after Hulu came out, and you see the commercials at least every commercial break or every other commercial break. And there was the Hulu commercial. We are free. We're not like the other guys. And, and just driving it home that they're not charging people for this awesome service. And then a year later, here they are at the $7.99 exact same price point as Netflix. And those commercials about being free and all of this stuff and not like their competitors just disappeared. So I've been forever miffed at Hulu. So, but they do offer good services because I think they still, you can watch, shows that just aired, whereas Netflix is always a year behind because it's basically when the DVD gets released, then you can watch last season's.
Do you have Amazon Prime?
We do.
Have you used that video?
We do. Not as much
I've been
though.
trying to use it and there's nothing on there to watch.
There's not many choices.
They're not. And-
Well,
Same with the books.
Yeah, is that right?
and what frustrates me about that is that, and maybe they've changed it, but there used to not be an option to filter. And so if you're, let's say I'm looking to watch Star Wars, and I type in Star Wars and it pops up and I think, oh, I can watch this. And then it says, no, buy or rent for,
Yeah.
and I know that they've got the little Prime ribbon on the preview picture, but I'd like to just show me what's available for free. Don't show me everything in your entire catalog, and make me think that I'm going to watch it for free when then I get a little pop-up saying you need to rent this for $2.99 an episode or $5.99 to rent the movie. But I also don't like the interface. Just navigating it has been, it's not great. So we use it sometimes if we don't find it.
Scrolling across.
Yeah.
You gotta go forever.
Yep.
Was
Yeah.
that map or map stuff?
Maps.
Dot ME.
That's what I thought. I was there and then
It's like a green
Yep.
suitcase thing.
yeah.
There we go. It's now downloading the area. Yeah, light green with a circle with a like a checkered suitcase on it. Very cool.
Good reading, everybody likes it. Question, I took my last trip video and
Mm-hmm.
down, but I reduced it down to under 15 minutes so I could use YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
but then,
Have they reissued is it a 15-minute limit?
I don't know, maybe it isn't. See?
I don't think it is anymore.
Well, that must be because all of a sudden, Ab went through his Asia trip and he had 25 minutes.
Yeah.
But he used a different program. He used Google Share or something,
Google Direct.
or something Google, and it went without a problem, but it was kind of the same. So maybe I was not.
No, yeah. Well, they've gone back and forth, and so that's probably your confusion. Is
I went in
there was a
site
time in which it was like 10 minutes, and then they upped it to 15 minutes, and then they went to like 2 hours, and then they went back down to 15 minutes. But I think because of things like what we're doing right now, which is live recording, and so obviously you can't limit that to 15-minute segments. And now YouTube also has YouTube Gaming, which is a service where people play video games and other people watch them playing the video games live. And sometimes they're called streamers, stream for 6 hours in a single session. And so obviously you can't limit that. And it records directly to YouTube. And I guess you could have it where it just shows it live and then doesn't record it. But then people would get frustrated that you couldn't have that.
He sent it via Google Drive, but that's not the same.
Google Drive is like OneDrive.
Okay, yeah, that's how he sent it. And
Yeah.
it was a WMV file,
Mm-hmm.
but it went fine without any problem.
Yeah, well, Google Drive is a way of sharing
Because I think
large
he made a
files.
photo story like I did, and he put music to it.
Yeah, like you can't email anything larger than, I think it's like 25 or 50 megabytes, but it's something fairly small. And I mean, that makes sense. But if you want to share larger files, then there's, Dropbox or Google Drive, or you can host it on a file hosting site and then provide them the link and then they can download from there. Or like what people do is post it on YouTube and make it available with link only. And then that way it's not available for public consumption, but you're able to share it with people. But YouTube always compresses the videos.
So the quality technically.
The quality goes down,
it'd be a little
yeah.
Feathery maybe, or
Mhm.
grainy.
They still do like 480 or 480, 1080p, and I think there's even some 4K videos out there.
Mhm.
And they even have VR videos now, and which are 360-degree videos.
Oh, okay.
So if you speaking of that, I was in line at Safeway yesterday after church, getting some things, and while I was in line, I was looking. I don't ever buy them, but I was looking at the magazines and the headlines, and I think it was People magazine had a Star Wars, like a lot of the magazine was Star Wars dedicated. And so I was looking at it, and in the corner it said Google Cardboard included. And sure enough, inside was the cardboard and then the 2 little lenses so that you can use the lenses to be able to do virtual reality viewing.
Okay.
But I didn't realize People magazine, and I don't know if it always is, but it was $14.
What?
And I don't know if it's
magazine itself?
yeah. Is that not right?
I don't.
That must have been a special edition.
That's what I'm wondering. I mean, maybe it was because
Maybe
it was
an
the
annual
Rogue
edition
One.
with the-
Oh, wow.
Because it was the Rogue One edition. I don't know, but I was like, oh, I will. I'll pick that up so that I can get the Google Cardboard, and I'm obviously interested in Star
Yeah.
Wars and the new Rogue One movie. I saw the price tag, and I'm pretty sure it said $13.99.
Maybe that'd be a good Christmas gift. Get some-
But you can also go on like Amazon and buy pre-made Google Cardboard, and some of them aren't even cardboard anymore. Like one of the ones I'm looking at is plastic, and it comes with a head strap so that you don't have to hold it with your hands the whole time.
Now, how do you take pictures that you can use on that? Is there a different format, or do you?
Yeah, it's a different format, and I don't know off the top of my head exactly what it is, but there might be apps for. I'm sure there probably are apps for it on the App Store. But there's special ways in which you can record video and take pictures.
So my buddy sent me, so I don't think it's virtual reality, but it's called
Augmented.
360-degree feature. The camera is a Nikon Key Mission 360. Very amazing little cube that films 4K
Yep.
video and 16 megabyte stills. Certain applications allow you to make full use of 360. YouTube is one of them. So he sent me a video. You can click and drag, and it changes so that you can see up, down, backwards, sideways.
Yeah, there are some special cameras out on the market Yes. Yeah,
So-
that was one of the first ones, was the Great Barrier Reef.
Right. So where do you find those? If you have a phone and one of these headsets, where do you go to find the movies, the
What-
data?
You know,
YouTube, like YouTube will do a lot of it. So you can go to YouTube and just type in VR.
VR.
And they even, I think they might even have like a section where you can go to VR videos and or 360-degree videos, because they are different.
Yeah.
But there's also, and then you can go to the App Store and download apps that are VR enabled. So I've got this, I haven't
So
played
they're
it.
like cartoons.
Well, I have a game that is a saltwater aquarium, and it's a game, but then you can also push and I obviously haven't done it because I don't have cardboard, but there's an option to push VR, and so then you can go into and be amongst and around your aquarium that you've built. So there's that. I think it was the New York Times did a VR journalistic experience, and so you're going through I think there's I haven't done it, but I believe it's someone is reading the article to you, and the article is about, I think, some kind of story about, I think people are, what am I trying to say, evacuate some kind of state or country. And so you're basically walking through, and you can look around in 360 degrees what's going on while the person is narrating to you. And I think that was their first attempt at trying to do VR news reporting.
Here's one for Jurassic Park for virtual reality. You know, it's more of a cartoon thing.
So
Yeah.
where are you looking now?
I went into the App Store
Oh,
or
and typed in VR.
and just typed in. That was the only one that was available. But they're not real. These are It's kind of an anime.
Yeah.
Like those old fashioned viewers there.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, even the Viewmaster.
Yeah.
Viewmaster actually has VR headsets that look like they're built
Yeah.
exactly like the old Viewmasters,
Really.
but they're VR. Yeah.
Back in the 50s, when my dad had a store, and he used to sell a lot of
Mm-hmm.
Viewmaster stuff.
Yep.
Real stuff.
I think we still have some.
I don't think we have a VR anymore.
But yeah, I mean, and you can watch. I think you can watch all kind. I mean, you can watch movies. Obviously, it's not going to be it's not going to be VR. But by doing it that way, you are basically turning it into wide and large screens. If you're not, if you can't.
Have you done it? What about motion sickness?
Some people say they do, and some people say they don't, and so I think it depends on the person and whether they're inclined to motion sickness. And I've also heard some people say that during certain experiences, it doesn't bother them, but it's when they, because you don't actually have to move left and right and things to do that. But sometimes, I think because people are still getting used to it because it's brand new technology, they still have that inclination to actually take physical movements, and that it's when they do that they suddenly get disoriented and get that kind of
The
motion
Disney World
sickness
thing,
experience.
I think it was a helicopter flying up the Tula River. Or one of them, you had to hold on because it would, it was disorienting
Mm-hmm.
as that helicopter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, now they
Bank
put
up
some
the
of the
river.
motion into the seats of the.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, Star Tours has been kind of, you could say a very early adoption of that kind of technology.
First Cinemax came out way back, that was the
Mhm.
big thing.
Or the IMAX.
No,
Yeah.
this was Cinemax,
Hmm.
which was before IMAX.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it was before
Okay.
IMAX. It wasn't.
Yeah, so it's all using those kinds of technologies that have been around and kind of repurposing, reinventing, and using them. But yeah, they're not that expensive, so I probably will pick one up in the near future. In fact, I almost picked up the one at Walmart, and I thought, no, because this was like 2 weeks ago, and I thought, no, it's You
Well,
know,
we're trying to figure out a gift for our chicken grandkids.
yeah,
That would be, they
Brilliant.
wouldn't all need one, they could share it, couldn't they? I mean,
yeah. I mean,
But I'm wondering what apps if
Mhm.
apps are available, well then.
Yeah.
And are they platform specific though? I mean, are there ones for iPhone?
well, yeah. I mean, you'd have to
iOS,
develop.
one for
Yeah.
Android.
There are, but
So you
there's
have to
people that
know
make
that.
apps for both platforms, and you know,
In order
YouTube would
for
be.
them to buy a grandchild thing, they'd have to know what
Yeah.
platform. they-
And then there's the real expensive ones. You know, if they've got a PlayStation 4, then you can buy the PlayStation VR, but that's $400.
Oh.
If they have Android devices, you can buy the Samsung VR, which is $100. Then there's the
So it'd be good to know if they had Androids or.
Yeah.
iPhones.
well,
I think they have Android. Well, I'm not sure what kind of phones they have.
because the Samsung VR is specifically for Android, and it may. I haven't researched into it because I don't have Android and I don't have Samsung, and so I don't know if it's also just Samsung specific, or if it's just
We
Android
could talk to
specific.
Barbara, because, I'm sure they've talked about it.
Yeah.
So it's getting one, actually.
But yeah, so I mean, you can get basically a movie theater experience, you know, or even if you're, you know, early in the morning, I sometimes watch YouTube videos or watch, you know, if I'm reading the news app, sometimes there's videos with the news article, and I'm always got my headphones in and I'm looking at a tiny iPhone screen, and so I'm almost wondering how much of a, you know, because it's immersive, if you get a bigger screen experience because of that. So I'm curious to find out that as well. So yeah, and there you have it.
Oh, we covered a lot of ground today.
Yeah, I mean, we jumped around a lot,
Yeah.
but it was good.